Yes, thanks for asking. Hi.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit about your family history?
Yeah, so we, again, Mr. Johnson, work here at Walt Whitman Middle School. Born and raised in this region. I like to say that it's hard to find people that have been here for multiple generations, but we've all been here for 4 generations now. So both of my parents are African American. I grew up with having 2 black parents in my household, and very inspirational family. My dad's from DC, graduated from DC Public Schools. My grandparents graduated DC Public Schools. And I attended Walt Whitman Middle School and then Mount Vernon, so it's all pretty much right here. And I have a pretty amazing family that has guided me in my life, and it's been an inspiration to me. And even though at some points in times in my life we may have had what we needed, and sometimes we had less, but we all had each other, and that was what was most important. So.
Okay. Okay, thank you for answering that question. Now this question, most students probably would want to know why, but why did you want to become assistant principal?
That is a great question. And to be honest with you, I knew at a very early age that I wanted to be an educator. At the time, I knew I wanted to be a school counselor. I was going to teach history and then become a school counselor. And what ended up happening was, and I ended up teaching. I was taught overseas, but I was teaching, became a school counselor, and then did another job in the central office. And then I was asked, like, would you be interested in becoming an assistant principal? Have you thought about that? Is that something that would interest you? And I thought about it and said, I think it would, and even though I knew at an early age I wanted to be in education and I wanted to be a school counselor, I didn't envision me being an assistant principal. But I've been here for 5 years and I love it. I love having an opportunity to work with the staff and amazing students like yourself. And every morning I get up looking forward to coming to work, and that's a special feeling.
Wow, thank you.
We get up early, like having to be here at 6:45 is definitely early, but it's an enjoyable experience each and every day here at Whitman Middle School. So I knew I wanted to be in education, and I was 9, so I knew.
So how do you enjoy the community?
How do I enjoy the community? Well, so I actually, even though, like I said, I was raised in this community, I still reside here. So my kids go to school within the pyramid. I love everything about this Mount Vernon Route 1 highway community. It presents a lot of opportunities to meet people that have different backgrounds than you may have yourself. Not to bore you with like the history of it, but it has a very strong, the Gum Springs community is one of the oldest African American communities, and well, the oldest in Fairfax County, but one of the oldest in the region. So there's a lot of strong history, and growing up playing at Gum Springs and all these different things, there's just a lot of pride in being from this community, and I wanted my children to have that same experience that I had.
You have children?
I do. 2 daughters.
Never knew that.
Yeah, I do.
Well, okay, don't take this offense, but what do you like doing like out of school? Like something that you would enjoy doing?
So I think what I enjoy, since we're talking about just mentioning my daughters, I think spending time with family, spending time with my wife and my 2 daughters. My parents still live in the community as well, so we're there pretty much every night. Especially when my parents cook much better than I do, so my kids want to go there all the time for dinner. So it's just spending as much time with family, because family again is it's precious. And it's valuable to be able to spend those moments with family. So, life goes by fast. It feels like just yesterday I was a student here, and it flies.
You were a student here?
I did.
How did you enjoy it?
I was. It was amazing. It was amazing. Again, it presented a lot of great opportunities to. Back then, the principal was Mr. Otha Davis. We loved him to death. Just presented a lot of opportunities to learn from individuals that you knew cared about you. And as a student, that's what we want. We want students to know that there are adults in the building that care about them. And yes, we'll teach you all these other things, but first I want to know, like, how are you? And I want to support you as a student. And as a student, I felt that while I was here. And I think I had Ms. Bullock, if you remember Ms. Bullock from last year. She was phenomenal and amazing. So there were teachers that were here that we knew loved us and cared about us, and I thought that was that made my time here as a student invaluable and really helped me along my path. Which in my journey may have done some of this, but it was very important. I knew the foundation was strong because of what the experience I had here and at Riverside. I went to Riverside too.
Yes, I'm in it too. One more question.
Sure.
Are you happy with the accomplishments that you made in your life?
Yes. I think that, you know, I don't tend to like sit and think about like I've accomplished this or I've accomplished that. I always say that, you know, my parents are very down to earth and very humble, and I think that's important. So I'll never say like, oh, I have this degree or that degree, or that's just not who I am. And it's more about, I think my biggest accomplishment is trying to be the father and husband that I saw that my dad was and is currently. So I think that's, if I can be half that man, I'm good. You know, so when I think about accomplishments, I don't think a lot about like, yeah, I went to college and yeah, I did this and yeah, I did that. I look back and say, am I a patient, respectful father to my own children, husband to my wife, an administrator / educator to the students that are here? You know, and I think that's, as I get older and retire and such, if I look back and say, I was helpful in helping guide young individuals that are in middle school, which could be a challenging time, and kind of gave them, planted a seed and had them thinking about after high school and things like that. That would be my greatest accomplishment. If I was able to help guide, you know, my students, my children, supportive and being there for my wife. That's, you know, and really it goes back to your first question about my family. It's the model I saw at home, and I'm very fortunate to have had that model, and seeing my, you know, the way that my father and my mother and, you know, my aunt and uncle, who were also very integral in my journey. So that's the accomplishment that I'm striving for, and that I think I have right now.
Well, do you think of the other students in the school as like family, not family as family, but?
So I call this the Whitman Family. So teachers, they're used to hearing it. You know, when I just hired a new teacher, I said, welcome to the Whitman Family. I was raised in you always hear it takes a village to raise a child. That's how I was brought up. You know, so I just talk about my parents, but also my aunt and uncle lived right around the corner. And, you know, and my father was like my father, but he also was like the community dad. So he would take kids home from practice, even though they weren't on our team. And he was a mentor. So we really truly believe that it takes a village. So when I think about, it's funny because in like my personal life, I'm like, yeah, my kids, and they're like, which kids? The Whitman kids or your own children? Because they know that I see all the students here that we work with as like we are the extension of the family. You guys spend more time with us, you know, that you think about by the time you get home. You know, by the time you get home and do your homework and get ready for bed, if you have like 8 o'clock bedtime and you stay after, that's only three or 4 hours that you're really at home, you know. So we like to believe that the families trust in us as kind of an extension to the family, the biological, the home family, because it really does take a village, and that's why we're so appreciative of the work that we do in the collaboration with the family, but also the collaboration with the community as well. So a lot of the community organizations that help us holistically support the students. But yes, I mean, I'll tell students that all the time, like, you know, like, and I think that's what's important. We care that much here, and I'll speak for myself. I definitely